What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Snatch and Scotch. I'm your host, Sylvie Bona, with my man, George Dixon, and Johnny Sixbox behind the camera. And we're here with Amanda from Badass Wodwear.
Yo, yo.
If you guys haven't heard of Badass, you haven't been around the Toronto circuit or the Canadian circuit, never mind. They're everywhere, basically. And I first saw you guys at like a local competition. And I think it's cool that you guys go and support these local competitions. Like, you go from like UG to like normal, regular little competitions to big competitions. Why do you do that?
Well, about three years ago, we started an aspect of our company called the Badass Caravan. And it was there as a branding tool, mainly to get Badass as a brand out to the community. And one of the things that we really wanted to strive on was not only meeting the community at higher end competitions, but go into the boxes, shake the hands of the people working out, box owners, and really introduce ourselves as not only a Canadian affiliate, but an affiliate for the athletes and for the box owners. So we started the Badass Caravan. We bought a 1961 replica Shasta trailer, old retro trailer, badged it all up, and hit the road. And that's kind of where it all started. It's grown since, and we just enjoy coming out on the weekends and meeting our community.
And
Awesome.
How far do you travel? Like, what's the furthest place you've gone across Canada anyways?
Well, we go coast to coast, but with the caravan, the longest drive so far has been Nova Scotia, the East Coast,
Holy
which was
shit.
pretty sweet. We did the throwdown out there on the East Coast.
Yeah.
That was recent, right?
It was recent, yeah. We did it last year and
Because
this
you guys
year.
had like Brandon Crump and those guys go up with Chris Rossini. That crew went out, right?
Yeah. Progenics was out there. It was a really great competition. We try to get our exposure out across Canada as much as possible. The West Coast is a bit tougher because we do have to ship all our stuff and play around with FedEx and the good old boys there. But we try to reach as far as we can because our community is vast. So we want to let everyone know that we're a Canadian CrossFit company and we're here to support Canadian athletes, Canadian box owners, and like I said, our community.
Awesome. That's cool, man. So why did you guys actually start Badass?
Badass came about actually in a pretty funny way. We, back in 2012, started making T-shirts to support athletes that couldn't get to venues, simple venues like local competitions, but also big venues like regionals. There wasn't a lot of support for Canadian athletes. There was a big expense to get to the regionals. Hotels, some of these athletes that live in Western Canada, flying to the venue was very expensive. So we started to create support T-shirts to support these athletes, and that's kind of where it came about. People kind of were saying, "Hey, we like this idea that you're making T-shirts. It's a pretty badass idea that you're making these athletes these T-shirts and supporting them." I'm like,
copyright, that's mine.
It is kind of badass. I'm like, maybe we should run with this. So 2012, we incorporated the name, and for 8 months, all we really did was just market the company and the brand, supported the athletes, and it just organically grew from there.
Now, who are you currently supporting, or is that still the trajectory of the company?
It is. We do have some really great athletes. Emily Abbott's in our roster. She came in 8th at the CrossFit Games last year. Zach Carlin, he's West Coast. He just won the Crush Games in Miami.
Nice.
Great names like Joe Johnson, who fights with cystic fibrosis.
Yep. Yeah, Joe's a badass for sure.
He's an awesome guy.
Actually, that son of a bitch, he snuck away from us on UG. We were supposed to interview him, and he snuck away from us. Fuck you, Joe.
Maybe he was just busy. Leave him alone. He was just busy.
No, he'll come back. No, he's a great guy, for sure.
Britt Holmberg, to name a few, we actually have...
Britt's a crazy-ass bitch.
She is. And
I love you, Britt.
I'll tell you a really funny story about Britt Holmberg. I met her at regionals in 2013. I loved her attitude. She burned the inside of her leg on a rope climb, and
I was there. I saw that.
She was just like,
and she's running with
fist pumping, like, that's right, motherfuckers. That's the way we do it. And I just loved her. So I approached her in 2013. She was already sponsored by a couple companies, and I said, listen, we can do something next year. Give me a call. Long story short, I started to sponsor her, and my brother, who lives in California, called me and said, hey, you're sponsoring Britt Holmberg. I'm like, yeah, how do you know? He goes, do you know who that is? I'm like, well, yeah, she's a CrossFit athlete. He says, used to babysit her and
No
her sister
way. Oh
back
my
in
God.
Sudbury when she was
Holy shit.
4 years old.
That's amazing.
So she was my mom's best friend's daughter, which
Okay.
blew my
Wow.
mind. So what a small world. Yeah.
That's the CrossFit community, man. Like
It's
everyone's
insane.
so connected, it's unreal. Like it's unbelievable.
It's insane.
That is so cool.
She's like a sister from another mister or something. I just love Brit. She's a good girl.
That's awesome. So where do you guys get your stuff made?
We try to keep everything local as much as possible. We try to support local, support Canadian. It's a big part of our company. That's why it's Rep the Beaver, Rep Canada. So
That must be pretty hard though. I mean, in terms of like buying product and printing and stuff, it's pretty expensive in Canada to like do that stuff.
It is. We 90% of our stuff comes from Canada. The only thing that comes from overseas that we have to outsource is the shorts because we haven't found a manufacturer here in Canada to facilitate that for us. But everything else comes from Vancouver or Montreal.
Nice.
We do everything Canadian. It's easier for us as a company not to be bringing stuff in overseas. There's a lot less to deal with, but we just like supporting our Canadian manufacturers.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at like starting our own little thing with like people have been asking for Snatch and Squats t-shirts and hats, and I'm the host and I don't even have any.
Well, you'll have to check out our
'Cause-
Rep the Box section of our business because we make stuff and we can make stuff for you.
Sweet.
We can
That'd be
dial
awesome.
you in.
That'd be sweet.
Dial you
Because
in.
yeah, like I gave away my shirt to George actually, and then
It's in the wash. It's in
I
the
gave
wash.
I gave away my hat to Daniel from Caffeine and Kilos, and I was like, shit, I don't have none of my gear anymore. So I'm repping a Bengals hat right now because of our last podcast with the Bengals players. So that's awesome, man. So what's the plans for the future for you guys?
We've got some pretty big plans. We're going to be initiating a new program for our Canadian athletes to generate more revenue and sponsorship and awareness for them. We've taken a page out of Team Canada's Olympic skiing program. I have a friend that is part of the OPT program, Optimal Performance Training Program for the Olympics out west.
Oh, wow.
And we've been in
Wait,
talks.
OPT works in the Olympics with athletes?
Yeah, so
Oh, cool.
the committee, there's a bunch of guys in the committee that are committed to podiuming Canadian Olympic athletes. So I've been talking to him about creating a new sponsorship program for Badass and our Canadian athletes that'll allow a tiered sponsorship for companies and big corporations to come in and actually be a part of these athletes' careers and journey to becoming a podium athlete.
Wow.
So our commitment over the next 3 years is to put an athlete on the podium at the CrossFit Games and
Nice.
do whatever it takes to support that athlete to get them there and achieve their goals.
So how do you support athletes? Like when you sponsor an athlete, like there's plenty of companies that sponsor athletes. I mean, I know friends of mine who are athletes and they have sponsors and, you know, they give them a t-shirt or some protein or whatever. What do you guys do to sponsor an athlete? Like, what does that mean?
It depends on the athlete. So we have a Tier 1, Tier 2 program. A Tier 1 athlete would receive a cash bursary. So they would get a set cash bursary. So let's just say $5,000 for the year. They also get a $1,000 bonus if they qualify for the CrossFit Games.
Oh, cool.
From there, of course, they get athletic gear. But our goal is to try to basically generate revenue where we can to help them achieve their goals and get them to competitions.
So you guys take that money out of your company?
We do. 25% of our revenue goes back into the CrossFit community.
Oh, wow.
Now here's a question. You're at local competitions, but and online, obviously. Is there any other venue or any other retailer that you're involved with?
No, we haven't started a wholesale program. We didn't want to confuse people what Badass Wodwear was. We've had a lot of opportunities to wholesale our clothes and, let's just say a store like a Wad Shop where they offer a little bit of everything. We really wanted just to concentrate on our brand and building our Canadian brand first before we started wholesaling our stuff and kind of spreading it around the CrossFit.
I gotta hook you up my boy Jeremy. I know a friend of mine is he's one of the main guys at XCC Fitness. He's a Canadian company. And after the Caffeine and Kilos podcast that we did, I guess I convinced him to come to Canada because I've been busting Danny and Charlie's balls for like years. And they finally came to Canada and they signed a contract with XCC Fitness. So XCC is now Caffeine Kilos Canada,
Awesome.
it would be cool to have Badass Wodwear beside that as well.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be really cool. Wholesale is something we're definitely going to look at into probably 2017-18. Next year, we're going to concentrate on building our new sponsorship program. Everyone's kind of seems to be taking the same leads in terms of retail, and we just want to do something that's a little bit different. We want to concentrate on the community and our athletes first.
Nice.
And from there, we'll look at spreading around the clothing a little bit. We do very well at these competitions with our clothing and online, so right now I'm just trying to keep the revenue flowing so we can support CrossFit Canada.
Now, here's a question. You go across all categories, or all divisions, so youth, masters. Do you have youth athletes as well, or do you kind of wait for them to establish themselves?
I think the next big thing is Masters. Masters is the next big thing right now.
We do have a Masters athlete, Jolene Bloom. She's also a member of the National Pro Fitness League. She plays for the San Francisco Fire, so we've been supporting her since day one. She was one of our first athletes, so we have been supporting the Masters group. We do also have a teen athlete. She's out of California.
Cool.
Sweet.
And the reason she's out of California is she actually goes to my brother's, who lives in California, CrossFit gym. So I was down there working out. I met her.
What gym is that?
She was a really inspirational girl.
Put
me on the spot.
Uh-oh.
Shit.
Get the plug in. Get the plug in right now.
California CrossFit.
The pressure of a thought.
Just say your brother's name. That's it.
You can't see me, but I'm blonde, if that helps. Explain it.
Oh, no, they can see you.
No, it's a video podcast.
Oh, shit.
That's
Yeah,
right.
You're on video the whole time.
And here I've been saying I have a face for radio. Thanks a lot.
No, we don't do the audio. We do all video podcasts here.
Awesome. We're certainly looking for some teens to add to our roster, but we want to be smart about athletes that we're sponsoring. It's a two-way street at the end of the day. So we look for athletes that are first and above all badass to start. So they have to like the company, support the company, and then we're happy to support them in return.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome, man. So, anything you want to plug in?
Buy my gear. Say it.
No.
Oh, sorry. Support our athletes by buying up my gear.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I think it's great. What you guys do is, I mean, most companies try to make money, and you guys are trying to support people, and then inevitably you will make a lot of profit by doing that because you're doing a good thing.
Yeah.
You know.
One of the things that I tell people they can't wrap their head around this is we're more a media company right now. We're not really a clothing company. People look at us and go, well, no, you're a clothing company. And I tell them, no, not yet. We're not a clothing company yet. We're a media company.
Yeah.
The clothing company will come soon enough. But right now, like you said, we're trying to bring people together through our community, through social media, and generate a community first, and then the clothing sales will come after.
Exactly. I mean, that's a great idea. I mean, like the podcast, we support the podcast, and that like we pay for everything, travel, everything. So eventually we will have people have been asking for T-shirts and hats. We'll get them to you guys hopefully by the new year.
For Christmas.
Maybe.
Maybe. You know how it is. But exactly, that's exactly it. Like, I mean, everyone does T-shirts and stuff in CrossFit, but a lot of people don't do what you do. Like, people don't actually do what you do because they're all trying to make a brand or a company, and they're not actually trying to do something good with it. They're just kind of fucking around making some money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I quit my job of 17 years, my career in June, so eventually I have to make money.
Yeah. Well,
So
you're all in on it, right?
Come by Badass.
Hey, look at this. You guys have something in common.
Yeah, I just retired. Woo! Yeah, I retired 10 years of
Hold on.
teaching, so I'm done.
You're not actually retired because you're still working somewhere different.
I'm drinking scotch and talking for a living.
Hey.
And sometimes I train people at my gym.
Sounds like you're doing it right.
All right. Well, check out Badass Wodwear. What's your Instagram?
Instagram is #RepTheBeaver and also #Badass Wodwear.
It's at Badass Wodwear?
For Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, at Badass Wodwear, or you can hashtag us at Badass Wodwear or RepTheBeaver.
Sweet. And Facebook, Badass Wodwear?
Yes, Facebook's Badass Wodwear, and Twitter is at @WodBadass.
At Wod Badass. And then also website?
www.badasswodwear.com.
Sweet.
Beautiful.
Get yourself some badass gear. Peace out.